Rivals.com joined by new Arkansas signee Cameron Ball. First of all, Cam, congratulations. Obviously, you can see by the mask you're going through a quarantine period right now. It's been a crazy 2020 year across the world, and obviously for you guys as recruits with no visits since early mid-March, and a lot of you guys committing and signing with schools you've never stepped foot on campus at, like yourself. You've never been to Arkansas. Let's start with that. How tough has it been in 2020 to get to this point now on signing day to feel good enough to sign with a school like Arkansas who you've never visited?
The decision, it has been really tough. I had to go off of what people have told me in the past, and I had to also go off of, virtual visits. Cause like you said, I've never been down there, so I'm I'm basically just following God's way and just taking certain things I see on the internet and what I've seen online into heed.
What did Arkansas, I guess, do right to be? You had multiple schools and a long list of offers, and you had top tens and top fives along the way. But you let me know it came down to Georgia Tech, a school that you have visited numerous times, a local school in Atlanta. But you chose Arkansas. What were the things Arkansas did right to convince you they were the right school for you?
Well, number one, I would say it would be the relationship that I have with the coaching staff because not only did they offer me at Arkansas, but when they were at other colleges, they were still offering me and taking a look at me. So, say for instance, Coach Jimmy Smith, that's my guy. So like he's from Atlanta, coached at Cedar Grove, and then he went to Georgia State. And when he was at Georgia State, he offered me at Georgia State. So when he got to Arkansas, I texted him and I said, "Hey, Arkansas might be a great fit for me in the future. Don't forget about me." And he took me along with him. And him getting the job, probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, I got an offer. And then when it comes to Coach Sam Pittman, the head coach, when he was the O-line coach at Georgia, he was recruiting me like heavily at Georgia. And he was about to offer me, but then he ended up leaving, taking the head coaching job at Arkansas. So it's just like basically like what stands out over everything is the relationship with all the coaches. Like there is, you can tell that their love and affection is just genuine when it comes to players and recruits.
Yeah, obviously, I know you've watched the team Arkansas, closely this season, and I think they've uh, played above expectations in Sam Pittman's first year, coming off a couple of years, under Chad Morris in the past. How much did that play into it? You watching the team play, how they rallied around the new coaching staff, how they played hard week in and week out in a tough 2020 calendar year with games getting moved around, sometimes missing practices. I mean, how much did the season and what you saw in the team play into this?
It played a big part also because in the past Arkansas has not been. They've probably been like one of the bottoms in the SEC. But then when Coach Pitt and the staff got there, I could see like the change starting to occur. Like they were starting to build the program up. So like the very first game, they held Georgia to 7 points in the first half. Like who would have ever thought that? And then they the next week they beat Mississippi State. Then they beat Ole Miss. So then it's like they starting to win in the SEC, and it's just happening out the blue. And then they started to get big time commits also. So I'm like, maybe I can help change the program.
Talk about Pittman. Your connection with him, relationship, how involved he was, as far as hands-on in your recruitment, and his personality, and kind of what you see in him and what makes you excited about playing for him in the future.
Coach Pitt, he's a cool, funny guy. Like he's a loving guy. I can tell that he loves his players a lot individually. Like he will get to know you not only as a football player but as a person. And he just kept it real with me from day one, from all the way to me being a commit to all the way back when he was recruiting me at Georgia. Like it's just the love that Coach Pitt has is just unreal. He's a nice, genuine guy. I love him. My family loves him. So that's really all that matters.
Take us back to the moment. Do you remember the moment, the day, the time you gave him the news? I know you've been, that silent commit for a little bit of time now. You put it out there publicly today. Take us back to what you remember about, making that call, giving Pitt, Coach Smith, those guys the news?
So Coach Pitt was in quarantine because that story had broke out that he had COVID. So I called Coach Pitt and he was chilling with his dog. And then I was like, Coach, can I FaceTime you and stuff like that? He said, yeah, man, I got all the time in the world. So I called him and then I was just like, Coach, I'm in. And he said, what? I said, Coach, I'm in. Like I'm in. And he was just like, oh yeah. Man, his dog was barking. Like it's unreal. Like his dog was making noises too. So I like the whole Arkansas was happy. Coach Smith was excited too. Everyone was just, real joyful about my decision.
Obviously a big time for you and your family. Obviously, I'm sure you're excited about your future now. You had offers to play offensive line and defensive line. Arkansas wants you to play defensive line for them in the SEC. Talk about how you see yourself fitting in their scheme and kind of what they've shown you, how they want to use you.
So the scheme that I've seen so far and that they told me about is Coach Barry Odom, the defensive coordinator. He runs kind of like a 3-4, 4-3. So when I was told, maybe I get a little 3 technique in, or sometimes I can play the 0, and then when it's a 3-man down line, I can play 4-eye and get me out there in space 1-on-1. For my size, I move pretty well, so I think I can move better than the big guy in front of me, aka the old lineman. So the defense that they run is similar to what I ran in high school, but in high school I played every single position on the D line, D end, D tackle, nose guard, all of that. So it's gonna be like a somewhat of a shock, but I'll just have to, hurry up and get in the playbook and get my feet wet.
For sure. Finishing up with you, man, what are you most excited about? Obviously I know you're looking forward to this day for a long time, putting that pen to the paper, officially signing your scholarship papers and making things official with Arkansas. Now that you have that done, what last question? What are you most excited about when you look ahead as far as your future in Fayetteville and playing at Arkansas, playing for Pitt, playing for Odom, playing in the SEC?
What I look forward to, just making the whole city of East Point proud. East Point is the city where my school is. I just know that everyone is rooting for me. I just want to let them know that good things come out of not necessarily the hood, but like rough areas. Like not only we're on the news for bad things, but we're also on the news for great achievements. So I'm gonna be a proud alumni of Tri Cities. Like I love that school, and going to the next level and going out of state, I'm gonna take that with me. Like yeah, I went to Tri Cities, and I'm gonna put Tri Cities on the map. And maybe Arkansas, not only Arkansas, but other big schools will start taking a look at those, somewhat not non-winning programs, but those little schools that they overlook just because of their records and players and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely something to be proud of, man. You've definitely helped Tri-Cities as far as putting eyeballs on that program, and they have guys coming behind you too. So hopefully you've helped, let that be known, and there's other players to come at that program. But Cam, congrats to you, your family. You've put in a lot of work. It's been, a difficult, stressful year for you guys as recruits, but you kept seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. You made it to the end. You signed now with the Arkansas Razorbacks. You're heading to play in the SEC. Cam, it's been a pleasure covering you, man. Congrats, and thanks so much for your time.
Yes, sir.